should be sitting up straight, but without stiffness, and should feel comfortable. Don't ever let yourself become tense. Now let's type some more on the home row key. Ready? Using proper rhythm, wiggle your fingers and jam the keys. A quick snap of the finger, and with practice, that's all there is to it. All there is to it. Are you relaxed? You should be, you know. Using proper rhythm.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Let me just get this all set up here. Make sure we're all good. We are all good to go here for another night in Face It. And man, is it a wild night already? We have Dark Mode versus Avidity going on right now. That's a huge game when you talk about the playoffs here coming up, only starting next week. This is a huge week for a lot of teams. These two teams in that mix. Iliad Artemis, 10-3, a team that you kind of have to look at as being locked in already, while on the other side, Laika, 6-5. They're not out of the playoffs. They're still very much in that hunt. A win here tonight does really help them out. Again, I always like to talk about that 9-win mark being a very safe spot for a lot of teams to get to if they're going to make playoffs. Well, they're 3 games away from that right now with 4 to go. So, thank you whoever followed. I hate that doesn't pop up. Only 4 games to go. They can win 3 of them, get to that 9-win mark. However, they'll be playing with a really, really rough kind of game right there with tiebreakers and the Bullholt score and how FaceIt determines all that stuff there. But Laika, I mean, me and Hunter and myself been able to watch this team a couple times this year. My friend Ma Neva is the co-streamer for this team. I think is currently co-streaming one of their, I don't know if it's advanced teams. It might be advanced, might be expert. I might be wrong about that tonight as well. So Laika has a pretty busy night here across all tiers of FaceIt right now. But they need this win here badly, in my opinion, especially with the schedule they have coming up here. Let's see if I can actually pull up their upcoming schedule at the moment, because it is a rough one. It is. I think it is kind of rough for them the rest of the season. Yeah, you still have Normal and Avidity, 2 teams that are Avidity's fighting for playoffs right now. Normal, I think, is fighting to stay in Masters tier, and Ex Oblivione is one of those teams that has pretty much, I think, locked themselves into the playoffs right now. We'll take a quick look at the standings here as well. But again, a lot will change. Avidity and Dark Mode going on right now, so we'll have another 8-win team at the end of the night tonight, making it a little bit harder for Laika. But if you've watched anything with PC New York or Parker, you definitely know that they're looking at those top 10 teams right now as those teams fighting for those playoff spots. We're already getting ready to go into our first map of the night. Antarctic Peninsula, Iliad will be attacking here first, and they are getting rid of the Vendetta. Honestly, kind of a little bit of a surprise ban, in my opinion, especially for a map 1, but they must have some insight on the other team right now here for, that's Venture, for Laika. And I mean, you look at how both these teams have been playing throughout the season. I mean, Laika, I honestly thought at a certain point this season was really looked as a big contender, especially with the names they have. but just been inconsistency for them. Inconsistency for them so far. However, you look at the other side, Iliad Artemis, you have to look at this as maybe one of the best seasons that they've had here in this Masters tier. And they've been around Masters tier for the longest time. Always been one of those teams that starts off good and then kind of falls off, is a middle of the pack team, maybe fights their way into that last spot in the playoffs. But this seems like a different Iliad Artemis team so far this season. And I mean, again, talking to a Duck on Quack in one more round. Please go back. Please go and watch that. A fun episode, honestly. Duck and Quack thought that this was honestly maybe the best composition for the team that they've had so far. And that was a month ago when Mauga was still considered a really big part of that. Yeah, Mauga's still a very big part of it. But Sigma, on the other hand, which is what we're going to be seeing here from Laika, is that other band coming out here right now. That is what a Duck on Quack really talked to me about. The fact that he believes they have the best Sigma player, or best Sigma comp in this entire comp, in the entirety of Masters tier here. But so far, 10-3. I gotta say hi to J-Man. But you just look at it right now. These two teams, I mean, Artemis, this has been a really fun season for them. Again, like I said, they've always been kind of one of those middle teams, one of those teams that is always here. And I think you're always kind of happy to see a team like that go on a little bit of a run like they've had. And 10-3 is a great record for them right now. 11-3 would look even better because, like I said, Iliad Artemis probably locked into the playoffs already. A win here. They're only playing for seeding at this point. And again, this has been such a weird year or season of FaceIt that it's hard to necessarily say who's the downright favorite. Yeah, you could pick the big names like EXO and Nightmare, but you look at some of the bottom teams right now, or those teams fighting for those last playoff spots, Dark Mode looks like a completely different team than what we saw a week ago. Hell, even going back to, I believe, last Friday or Thursday when they played Grimoire and lost 3-0. Dark Mode looks completely different. Avidity's also woken up as well. Again, I believe Avidity and Dark Mode, if you want to split screen right now, I believe Parker or PC New York is covering that one. Same thing with Bullskunk as well. They're covering that one here. So again, a lot of great action going on around the Masters tier here tonight. Just waiting on a couple people to get in right now. It's some members of Iliad Artemis, just waiting on them to get in, which is a normal thing with FaceIt where some people just don't get the invites. But the Sigma and Vendetta bands going into map number 1, really interesting. Like I said, Vendetta, again, yeah, she's getting a little bit more play here, but I feel like you don't normally expect to see a lot of it at all that much. But there are some teams that really like to play a certain play style, and the Vendetta might fit into that play style. Here's Sigma. Like I said, coming up from Laika, that's probably a really good band considering, again, like I go back to when I interviewed a Duck on Quack, they thought that their Sigma composition was maybe one of the best ones here in this tier and in this region for FaceIt. And so far, 10-3, hard to argue against those stats right there. But just looking outside that, still about 2.5 minutes here for everyone to get in. There are a lot of other games going on right now across FaceIt. I'm going to try to pull those up here because I know there are a couple people who should be streaming them. So here's all the games going on tonight. I know Hunter is streaming Fallen and Team Missing. That game's going on. I'm streaming Iliad and Laika. There's probably a couple other people streaming it. Avidity is up on Dark Mode. Ooh, that's an interesting one right there. Nightmare and Grimoire, I don't know if anyone's covering that one. And DDD and Normal, I believe I saw someone was covering that one. I believe I saw someone was, but I don't know. But there are also a lot of players who are going to be streaming their perspective, so please go support the players if you're not already here, because, granted, there's a lot of players that do this every week, every game, and it's really fun to be able to watch some of them sometimes. But still, kind of waiting here. The longer we go on this way, it's always that thing of I feel like we're going to get into a pause here, which is really, really fun. Really fun. Still waiting on 2 players from Artemis. Laika's having some fun in the chat right now. But, again, the playoff picture has kind of wound it down here. 10 teams, though, going into the final week, I think is insane when you really think about it here. Again, I'll just pull up the standings. Oh, wait, did that end? Did it? Okay, wait, I can figure this out. No, it did not. I'm taking a guess. Got put into a pause right now while we kind of wait. Still waiting on some members of Artemis to get into the lobby, and like I'm looking at right here, it's probably going to be going into a little bit of a just hold right now. I feel like there might be a little bit of a problem going on across all of FaceIt here. Nope, there it is. Okay, so that one's back. Oh, hey, going in, apparently. So we're going to be heading into our first map of the night here momentarily, everybody. Antarctic Peninsula, really interesting with the changes they made. I feel like a lot of people were kind of questioning why they needed to be made in the first place, but I think ever since then, people have really come to just truly like the changes that have been made to this map. But let's head in to our first map of the night. Again, really big game for both these two teams here. We'll stress that a lot throughout the night. Laika, a win here puts them in a really comfortable spot for the rest of their games, considering they have two, I think, very winnable games, and then one definitely tough one against Exo Oblivione to end their season, or they still have to play Exo before their season ends here this week. Again, they can go 3-1, and I think still have a good chance to make playoffs. Iliad Artemis, on the other hand, only has one more game after this one. Being 11-3 going into it puts you in a really good spot. But coming out of the gate here, you see the two teams, their different play styles, at least here for Laika showing us that good old Ryan, now Malga comp here with the Cat Bastion from Cinnabar and J-Man. That has been a really fun thing. Why did your... Corval, I'm so sorry. Why did your message get deleted? Why did Automod... Why is Automod working now? I'm so sorry about that. But let's focus in on our game here right now. Again, the Malga comp has been kind of a mainstay for a lot of teams this season, especially with J-Man and Cinnabar. J-Man's always been a really good Bastion player ever since his Cat Bastion became a really strong thing. But on the other side for Iliad Artemis, the Orisa, I'm surprised doesn't get played a little bit more here, especially to try to counter us out. A lot of sustainability, but a huge target right there with Azure on that Orisa as well. Can just kind of get chunked out here by J-Man and Cinnabar flying around. You see Amadou trying to just focus in on them, allowing the rest of their team to maybe take a little bit more pressure off them right now. Hittori getting very low here on point. Has that cardiac overdrive still alive, but you get the spear spin out from Azure pretty early on, and just that pressure from Painkare on that sim, big stomp down and gonna be thrown out of this fight there as Juno takes care of them right there. You saw that Cat Bastion no longer in the sky, but being able to find some value here on the ground, and Laika gonna get off to a good start here. Again, not necessarily a must-win game for them, but one that goes a long way if they do. They already have the artillery online from Laika. Amadou almost taken out there. J-Man gonna get carried away right now as you start to see Artemis coming back in. I don't know why your message was deleted there, man. I'm so sorry about that. But right now, the artillery came out there from J-Man. Not going to be able to find anything. Painkare, Amadou, and Azori already finding a couple here. And it's just like really quick cleanup there for Iliad Artemis. 30%. Going to be going over towards Laika here right now. Again, kind of, I think what you expect a lot of times with this Malga composition. You expect a quick win, kind of like they got, and then the other team's going to make one quick change in how they play their pace or how fast they play, and it just kind of shuts it down there. Again, a lot of this entire composition is going to be based on how much J-Man and Cinnabar can do up in the sky, allowing Hittori and Lampet to be able to find a lot of value on the ground. But you see the ultimates online here for Iliad. 3 ultimates online. That photon barrier not really that far away, as I don't know who I miss coin tosses. But Kitsune Rush out from Juno as you're seeing Laika go in right now. J-Man going to be able to find Amadou out there. The Terror Surge coming out from Azure, but they'll get melted down by Hittori. Hittori, though, has to play their own life right now. Going to be able to get some healing as it's going to be a really quick point retake here for the Dogs right now as they get right back. Did get a couple big ultimates out from the other side. At the cost of your own Kitsune Rush, you got rid of the Deadeye and you got rid of that Terror Surge. A huge fight victory there for Laika. You see Lampet running away right now, but Amadou, finds out Juno very early on, and I mean, that's a costly one early here. Tori with the cage, they're going to use it right now, but they're just going to get melted out. Everything that Laika's doing really seems like they're just trying to find ways to stall out this point. Lampet going to be able to find one, J-Man taken out. What can Lampet do as I'm just swapping to dead bodies? But it's just going to be a really quick fight, a really quick retake here. Good job, actually, by Cinnabar buying a little bit more percentage. Mardo will be able to find them out. But again, it just seems like I don't even think it was a slight mistake. I think Amadou just maybe caught Juno out there slacking or sleeping and just able to punish them there. Vittori, though, looking for that off angle, trying to find time for J-Man and Cinnabar to get up in this guy. Catnap is ready, but it's actually going to be J-Man starting off here with the artillery going into the backline. Everyone there. Hittori, I would not be surprised if trying to follow up on it. Not going to be able to, but Azure has kind of run away right now. Bernie don't want to get burnt out of this fight too early. There goes the charge, and as they see a couple of low bodies, the Catnap, not going to find anyone there, as I think Azure hits the gold at the right time, not to be taken away. A trade out right there. It's Hittori going to be knocked off the map by Azure, and now it's Artemis going to be able to hold on to it here. One more fight here realistically for Laika. One more fight here realistically for Artemis. No ultimates online here right now. Azure does have that Terror Surge online. Beat not that far away here as well for Artemis. Trying to find a good fight win here right now to end up this point. Juno, though, not that far away from a Kitsune Rush as Laika just runs straight to point. And I honestly love that play. There's the Terror Surge. There's the beat. All the ultimates out on field right now from Artemis, but Azure actually gets melted down too quick. They have to back out of this fight. The point will be taken here right now, but a little bit of a re-engage will come. Amadou does have the Deadeye here ready to go, but they're being chased out. Kitsune Rush now out from Juno. Amadou not going to be able to find any of the picks right there. Overtime commence right now for Laika. Two members taken out here early. Looking for a third. There it is, and Laika looks like they're going to be able to lock it down here on our first point of the night. Really good back and forth here. Really good back and forth from these two teams. It's honestly what we expect from these two, especially when you look at the start of the season. I mean, Laika, the talent they had on it, it's a really good team. The record is the only thing that really doesn't make a lot of sense right now for them, but they are still in playoff contention. And again, a win here over a team that I think is essentially locked into the playoffs goes a long, long way the rest of this season. Let's take a look at some stats, though, right now. J-Man 13-4, Hittori doing a lot as well. On the other side, Azure, yeah, on that Orisa, you expect them to be taking a lot of that damage, also giving a lot of damage here as well. 6,300, the most on that team by a large margin. Mardo and Pain Care still doing a lot right now as well for them. Oh, it's Flumpy I missed coin toss. Oh my goodness. J-Man skewered, and then I don't even know what kind of analogy I could use for getting killed by sound. But right now, charge coming in. However, the first point cap here will definitely go the way of Iliad Artemis. Hittori just trying to get out with their life. I think Cinnabar trying to come over there and just pick them out to get them out of that one very early on. Again, Corba, I don't know why your message was... I don't know why now Nightbot decided to start working for some reason. It's never worked before. But yeah, like I said, it's going to be Artemis getting the first cap here. And immediately, I like what Laika does here. Just goes plays for point, try to force Azure down because they want to get that burn onto that Orisa very early on. But right now, they need to keep Lampet. They need to keep Hittori alive. They're just going to disengage from the point, regroup here for a brief moment. But that only allows the time here for Artemis to get set back up. Cinnabar in a little bit of a rough spot. Same thing with J-Man. J-Man trying to run away. Cinnabar just healing him up as best as they can. A little bit of help there from Lampet, going to be able to keep them alive. The nice charge coming in there from Hittori. We'll be able to find one, and the rest of this fight going to be cleaned up right now here very quickly. Yeah, you'll lose your support line if you're Laika, but you'll be able to take the point right back here for the first time, and you'll gladly take that. And hey, yes, the sled tech. Saw this yesterday, I believe, against their game against Dark Mode, where Hittori or someone used the sled to kind of hide around a point right now. But immediately you see Azure come right back in. Overclock out here from Amadou. Kitsune Rush out from the other side. Cinnabar going to be able to find Mardo. However, might not be the best target, as now Amadou, Overclock, going to be able to find J-Man out. Kitsune Rush as the response, but kills going back and forth right now. Even across the board here, as both teams down two members, as you see, Hittori goes straight back to point. Amadou going to be taken out there, and this looks like it's going to be cleanup crew here for Laika, as Flumpy going to be able to run away here for a brief moment before they're going to be taken out by Hittori. Hittori just cleaning up here early on. And I like this. Take a little bit of space. You have the pressure. You have the supports with you as well to be able to do this. And you have the ultimates. You want to be able to try to get out a lot of people. Who the heck is Sunshine? You have a lot of people on your side right now with ultimates. Lampet, though, going to be able to find one pretty early on. And look at this. You're essentially spawn holding them right now. Sled Tech coming out here again from them. J-Man, though, Fly Noon online potentially. Looks like they're getting set up for it. They see the skulls. They're looking for it. The photon barrier's out. Pain Care not going to be able to save Floofy, but they will save their own life there for a brief moment. Still, though, Laika putting on a little bit of a performance here right now. The TP going to come out there to keep themselves alive for a brief moment, as the point is getting taken right now by, I believe, Azure. You see Lampet going back, and same thing with Cinnabar. Cinnabar going to barely be able to escape that Terror Surge, but this should be a point retake here for Artemis so far. Doing a good job, but does it come at a cost here? Hattori going in, not going to be able to find much, as I think right now, if you're Laika, you have a big lead, just kind of fall back, regroup. You have some big ultimates coming up online as well. J-Man, though, getting staggered out here. Not what you want to be seeing if you're a Laika fan here, because you look at the ultimates on the other side, you have that beat, you have that Consuming Rush ready to go for Artemis, but you have Cage, you have Death Blossom. You're not that far from another Catnap. TP onto the high ground as Hattori just goes charging in on, but J-Man going to be able to get their name in the kill feed here now, taking care of Amadou and Pain Care. Without that TP, kind of has to play safe here. J-Man going to execute them from the high ground. Consumer Rush out. Same thing with Cage, but Hattori will just get melted down in the blink of an eye. However, the point gets retaken by Artemis. By Laika, I mean. Death Blossom coming out here from Lampet, not going to be able to find anyone. Does find some of those chunks. The Catnap coming out there from Cinnabar onto Mardox as they just bring him straight onto point. And right now, Laika trying to find it again. Deadeye going up in the sky. They're looking for the skulls. They'll find the one right there, but that might be all they need. J-Man with two, looking for a third. Finds the third. Can they find a fourth? It won't be necessary here as Laika gets off to a great start, finding our first map victory. Again, this is the type of performance you need from Laika. This is the type of performance you expect from them as well. The names on this team, playoffs on the line here. Again, a loss doesn't knock them out here tonight, but man, are they looking like a playoff team, at least after map number 1 there. And again, a really, really good map there from Laika. Let's go back to here because they normally go fast. Yeah, Circa Royale going to be our second map here. Artemis going to be attacking here first yet again, but that is by the choice of Artemis, actually. That's a kind of a big surprise for me. But the Bastion going to be banned out here. We see this a lot on this map. Either you're banning out the hit scans or you're banning out the Bastions for one reason. Cat Bastion really strong on this map. However, I feel like it's not necessarily the biggest problem. I feel like we've seen J-Man kind of do a lot better on the Cassidy sometimes when it comes to the cat, who's being, wow, I can't speak right now. Whoever's getting carried around by that cat. Let's get the cast pick in there. But who does Laika ban out now? I think that's going to be the interesting one right here. Because again, the Vendetta was banned out map 1. You also got rid of the Sigma, so Sigma's going to be available here. It's going to be really interesting to see what that ban is here in a brief moment. Let me see if I can get these all ready to go. Can I look at stats? I would really enjoy looking at stats here. I can't. Gotta love it. All right, but let's take a look and see how this game's going on right now as well. Looks like they are going into map 4 right now. 1-1 on that one. So, ooh, whoever attacking on that one is in a really good spot. Here, still waiting on the second ban to come through and everyone to get ready. But again, you're looking for that star. If you're Laika, you find that start. You're going to be going up against a really good team, and I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams going into playoffs incredibly hot. If Laika's one of those teams, they are going to be a scary one. Mizuki going to be the ban coming out here from Laika as we head into our what the heck just happened? As we head into our second map of the night. I don't need to do much with my overlays. It doesn't look like any subs coming in here for either of these two teams at the moment right now, which, again, not the biggest surprise. Duck on Quack in. I remember talking to them for one more round, like I've kind of mentioned a couple times. They said the one thing that would make this Iliad Artemis team even better is if the Freya was a little bit better as well. And guess what? Freya is really good right now, especially with those recent buffs that they just got. But let's head over into our second map of the game. All right. Circle Royale is always kind of looked at, I feel like it's a little bit of a poke map for the first two maps, or first 2 points, but then after you get into that third point, it becomes a little bit more brawly. Yes, you can still definitely play the poke. You can still definitely play it, but I feel like it loses a little bit of its value, especially with how hard some of the corners and angles are. And granted, yes, those are great for hit scans and stuff like that, but I feel like it just loses a little bit over here. Lampit teasing us with that Vendetta pick here. Remember, banned out map 1. Thought we could potentially see it here, but got to be going over to the Pharah instead. And especially with a Duck on Quack on the other side, you have to be very careful about flying around in the sky with that. They can take a head off very, very quickly here. Laika, though, I like this composition. They have to really worry about how Pain Care plays this Mei here. Looks like going to be a TP out most likely, and then back over to the Mei here. But you already see the rockets coming in there from Lampit, but it's going to be a Duck on Quack finding Juno out. Like I said, you have to be very wary of them. They can find that shot. If they find it, it opens up a lot of doors here for Artemis. And Juno going over to the Moira. No, go Moira just for a quick out, but a Duck on Quack again. You can't be losing members like that early on. Looking for those heads, as always, on this Widow. All of the space in the world being taken here by Iliad Artemis, essentially for free. They're looking for more. Everyone on Laika knows not to necessarily poke their head out too far here. Hittori does notice them. Now the punch is coming out here, trying to find Azure. They're going to be able to find them, so now you're going to see a little bit of a comeback here from Laika, and that's exactly what they need. They find 2 quick kills, trying to find a third. Lampit going in for a little bit more. Lampit with 3. Can they find the 4th? They might need to back up here right now, and yeah, they're going to be able to get around the corner just in the nick of time. But a nice retake there by Laika. That could have gotten out of hand very, very quickly for them if they kept on falling early there and just getting stalled out. Accretion not going to be able to find anyone right there, but Duck and Quack goes right over to the Freya now. Again, a hero they really like playing, a hero that they think is probably one of their best in their pool. Landing both those take-aim bolts into Hittori right there. You see all the space being retaken, though, right now. Hittori, though, rocked to the ground, stuck by a bolt. All the space here just kind of being taken back quickly by Artemis. And now Hittori in a little bit of a bad spot. Gets the Tidal Blast, kind of helped them out through here. Goes rushing in as well. Everything being invested to keep Hittori alive. Bola shot coming out there from J-Man. Not going to be able to find much there, but you do get a trade. Flux going to be barely able to find a couple. You're going to end up finding Cinnabar. Katsuna Rush now coming out here late from Marduk's as they're trying to get rid of Hittori. They'll be able to do that right there. And it looks like Iliad Artemis should be able to clean up this fight right now. Juno, rocked to death. J-Man. Well, Floofy helped them out there as they looked like they would be jumping onto the track there for a brief moment. But this should be point 1, going over to Artemis. Not a lot that I think Laika could have done there. I think everything kind of went the way they wanted it to, other than how the fight went. I think just the unfortunate kind of picks right there. Nice flux that used honestly by Azure to be able to get rid of Cinnabar. I think a lot of this composition right now for Laika kind of depends on Cinnabar getting that orb onto someone like Hittori, someone like Lampit who wants to go in. As Hittori finds one, Bola not going to find anything but the top of the sign there from a Duck on Quack, and that might just be the disengage. Nice hops coming out there from Hittori, but now Floofy has to use that orbital ray just to keep their team in the fight. They find Hittori, but Duck and Quack does fall. However, I think you'll gladly always have your tank alive in a fight. Azure just trying to run for their life right now. Cinnabar just slams the wave right into that shield, but trades going back and forth and back and forth. Again, another trade out here. J-Man gonna be taken out, but Juno right back into it with it. Yet another trade. The cart, though, still kind of moving here for Artemis, but you're gonna see the cavalry come back here a little bit quicker for Laika. Azure does have another Flux online. Could use it on Hittori here. Could use it onto the backline at any moment. Blizzard coming out here from Pain Care. They're just going to throw it. They're looking for anybody. The freeze actually does find Hittori. Now, though, Hattori gets get it very low here. Does not have the Nemesis form to keep them alive, and this looks like it should be point 2 capped here for Artemis. The Tidal Blast actually invested on the Lampet right there. They don't have the Blizzard to go with them. They're just looking for anything right now. Time stall, maybe a pick here to help them out, but they're not finding anything here, as it should be Artemis eventually taking care of this May. Good job by Lampet for staying alive. Maybe a lot longer than I thought they would. But again, Artemis bouncing back from their performance last map wasn't necessarily the worst, but it was definitely one you would want to have back if you're them. And I like the space being taken here pretty early on. Azure trying to make sure they just disrupt this high ground as much as they possibly can. A Duck and Quack, J-Man, both have these bullet shots ready to go. Duck and Quack does find the shot there into Hattori, finds another one, has an opportunity. Katsura out there for Mardox pretty early on here. Katsura now out from Juno as the response, as both teams going back and forth. Ice Block invests here pretty early by Painkare. J-Man and Duck and Quack both use their bolas, not finding anyone. J-Man trying to get rid of Floofy here, but they're getting stuck from behind by a Duck on Quack, who I don't even think anyone else but J-Man knows they're back there right now. And somehow, someway, a Duck on Quack actually safely gets back to their team. Blizzard, though, out from Painkare, and Lampet finds 1-2 on the side there. The Flux from Azure going to be able to get rid of Hattori here for the moment. If you're Laika, you're just stalling out this card as long as you can, trying to just buy time, because you're going to need one more regroup here. You have a little bit of an ult advantage as well with that Annihilation, but Floofy used that Orbital Ray into the last time that Annihilation came out from Hattori, and it worked out very, very well there for Artemis. Duck and Quack coming out spawn. Same thing here with J-Man, as both of them looking for just an opening. Again, Annihilation online, not that far away from Ebola for both teams. Cinnabar, though, that Orbital Ray needs to be built quickly here right now to help their team out as much as they possibly can. Trying to slow play this here, as Azure does find that creation into the shield, but they're just buying space, buying abilities. The Nemesis form already out here pretty early on from Hattori. Bola shot out from a Duck on Quack, but the Annihilation out now from Hattori. Orbital Ray out as well as the response from that. Just going to be buying time right now. J-Man, though, the Bola finds one this time around, and this could be something that leads to a fight victory here. Mardox, Floofy, Painkare, all taken out by some left, right, and say goodnights there. J-Man fighting a Duck on Quack there again, who goes back over to the Widow, and this is exactly what you're looking for if you're like a... Again, another close hold, saw the second point in last map on Antarctica, and it really, I think, disrupted Artemis. It forced Artemis to use a lot of stuff early on. The only thing that Artemis could potentially use here, though, early on, is that Kitsune Rush here from Mardox. Duck on Quack looking for an opening right now. Hattori, though, using that shield. Nemesis form out pretty early on. The Blizzard, though, coming out from Lampet. They just want to get rid of Azure here, which, you know what? I don't blame them. Get rid of the tank. A great play right there. Buys a lot of time. And look, you're cleaning up the rest of the fight right now here as well. Painkare. Yeah, they're in a spot. Laika, though, not going to overextend their boundaries. They're going to stay inside the hotel right now, but nice ice wall coming out there from Painkare. Azure going to be able to find Hattori, and now Laika has to completely disengage from this close hold, I believe. Bullet shot, though, out from J-Man does find, I believe, nothing but the ground there. And again, this is just buying time, buying a lot of time. Juno will be able to find one, but everything's going the way of Artemis here. Juno somehow still alive. The cart, though, moving here yet again for Artemis. Final fight territory for both these two teams. Gonna have a lot of ultimates, and I mean a lot. Counting it right now, 8 ultimates here that could be deployed at some point this fight. Maybe 9 or 10 if J-Man and Lampet find a lot. Kitsune Rush out there from both of our Kiris. There's the Orbital Ray from Cinnabar. No Orbital Ray just yet from Floofy. Annihilation, though, out on that low ground. Gonna be able to find just a trade right now. Overtime has commenced, but that Annihilation, because it's on the point, is gonna be alive for a long time. Orbital Ray comes out, though, and you're just seeing Painkare freeze people out of the fight. And man, this May has been able to find a lot throughout this entire round. Got to overtime at least here if you're Laika, but unless you see a hero play come out from either J-Man or Lampet, which is not gonna happen, it's gonna be Artemis full capping the map. Let's take a look at the stats here. I mean, a very, very, very even map around there from both teams, honestly. But you look at Azure, you look at Floopy, and you look at Paincare. Not a lot of deaths, a lot of damage. Look at just the numbers that Azure put up there in that first round. Almost 14k damage, 16.5k mitigation. I mean, especially on the offensive side, that's some impressive stats. Our two Freya players who had that first round as well. Over 8,000 there for both J-Man and a Duck on Quack. Again, you expect a lot of that kind of high burst damage potential coming from your Freya players at all times. And as for those Mei players of Lampit and Paincare, I mean, again, a lot of good just space being taken away. 6,000, 7,000 there for Lampit. Healing about the same, honestly, about 1,000 more, honestly, for Paincare. But they were being pressured out a lot, especially in those last couple of fights there. Everyone doing really good. Again, this is kind of what I expected from this series. This is why I was really happy to just take it here and cover it, because I thought this would honestly be maybe a little bit of a sleeper series for especially for the last week. Let me out. What do you mean I can't get out? Let me out. I'm a spectator. Thank you. Okay. But no big shocks here for either team, I believe. Both teams basically sticking with what they played with last round, which is a little bit of a surprise. I thought maybe we would see something a little bit different here from probably Artemis, or, yeah, honestly, Artemis. I thought maybe we'd see something different from Azure, but Juno finding one out here early on onto their counterpart, more specifically, is a huge one. Again, it's all about taking space. You don't want to get caught off the choke, but this Mei going to find a huge ice wall right there, as already Hattori taking a lot of damage. The Nemesis form out here trying to get all the healing they possibly can right now, but Lampit as well. I mean, this is exactly what you look for. Lampit with 2 already. Can they find a third? Looking for it, trying to find it. The grass could be able to keep them up for a little bit longer there, but Lampit with 3. J-Man going to be able to take that 4th one away, and wow. I mean, again, a great kind of fight there for Laika. Getting off to the start you're really looking for there, and it's going to be interesting to see if we even see a touch come out here from Artemis. No. They're just going to surrender this first point. 5.5 minutes almost for Laika, putting on a little bit of a clinic on that first point. However, I say that, and unfortunately, J-Man immediately dies. But I was going to say, I say that, and this second point is one of those ones that's very, very difficult. I've seen a lot of teams in the past struggle once they lose the fight, lose some momentum on that attacking side, and that's the one thing that Laika is trying to just not allow to happen right now, losing that momentum. You see Azure just go straight in there on Hattori. Nemesis form out as both Junos invest in the rushes in this one here. Those punches coming out at Mach 2 right now for Hattori. Not going to be able to find anything as they're just trying to back up, but J-Man finds out Floopy yet again here. These Freyas have just been fun to watch throughout the night. Oh, the shots coming out from J-Man. Make it almost 5 straight shots coming out from that land, but they are just going in right now. Bola online. They're looking for one here. That grass does come out, so the Bola is now free here. Nothing can really stop it. Not going to be able to find one, but the Flux coming out here from Azure. Going to be able to trap a couple in there, but the Blizzard is huge. Finds Paincare, but you're not able to kill them. Hattori with the Nemesis form. Just going to get themselves out there with their lives. A lot of ultimates, though, still online here for Laika. In a really good spot here. Y'all ready for everything to come out at once? All 4 ultimates that were ready are out right now. Floopy's still holding on to that orbital ray, and they're going to need it here. Again, 5.5 minutes. This time over 5.5 minutes. I said it once. I'll say it again. Laika putting on a clinic here on Circuit Royale. And taking all the space in the world as well. Looks like Lampit's going to be the designated cart pusher here for the moment. But Floopy still does have this orbital ray. If they want to try to regain some momentum, regain some presence in this map, this might be the time to use it a little bit early here. But Azure finally off of that Sigma, going over to this Ramatra here and now. But you're already seeing a little bit of a complete disengage here from Laika. I do actually like this kind of play. Just back out completely. Try to buy a lot of space. There's that orbital ray from Floopy as Laika looking just to run away as fast as they possibly can right now. Not being able to find anyone. There they go, finding their first one. There's Paincare. We'll take care of Lampit with some help from that orbital ray. And look at just the disengage there from Laika. Again, a very smart team. They're not going to necessarily stay in a fight that they believe is one that they will not win. J-Man, though, going to be able to find one. Hitori actually finds out Pain Care right there. So, again, a smart team, back out, get the one, or back out, regroup very quickly, come right back in, and essentially win the team fight as Azure falls there as well. And now look again over at Laika. 1, 2, 3 ultimates online for them. 2 ultimates online at the moment here for Artemis. Not that far away from another annihilation there for Azure. They're going to need to build that up pretty quickly here, which they should be able to. Consumer Rush out here from Juno pretty early on. There's the Blizzard. But the Bola out from, out from a Duck and Quack does find J-Man out here. 2 members frozen from Laika, but neither one are going to be killed. The Annihilation on the back line right now as Hitori looking for anyone that can throw any of these fists at Blizzard out as well from Lampet. They're just trying to cap the point. Lampet going to be able to help find Azure out, and now you're seeing those freezes come into work. 4.5 minutes for Laika. What a performance. I mean, that's more time than you get at the start of your rounds. That is insane. An insane amount from Laika. Oh, hey, my stuff's working. What the hell? Why is all my stuff working now? I never expect my notifications to work, but let's look at the stats here again. That was just such a dominant round from Laika. Like, these stats still aren't the worst here for a team that kind of just got ran over in Iliad there. But we've seen a lot of stuff happen in overtime rounds in the past. I've seen teams go from basically struggling to get through the first round, still completing the map, to somehow completing the full map again in the 1 minute they got. So if you're Laika right now, you're still trying to keep up that momentum you've had there, but Hitori doing really good, J-Man doing really good. Lampet was on fire last round there. And a little bit of a fall off there. Yeah, you can look at a Duck on Quack there with those 11 deaths, but still, they're just getting caught up by J-Man a lot. They're getting caught up by by Lampet a lot here. You're looking for a little bit more right now here if you're Artemis. Job's not done here on this map. But a Duck on Quack coming back out on that Widow. Are they going to be looking for the shot? It looks like they looked for the shot, didn't find it. Instead, actually took a little bit of damage there. A really dangerous play coming out there, because that's really what kickstarted Artemis in the first round, was just that nice opening from a Duck on Quack. And now I like what Laika's doing here, taking all the pressure, taking all the space, trying to make it very difficult for Artemis to do anything. Lampet, though, uses that ice block early, gets rid of the ice block, or gets out of the ice block as well. And now that ice wall coming out there from Pain Care, not going to be able to do much, as now they're out of that block. The Suzu has to come in there from Mardox to keep them alive. Nice ice wall there from Lampet, but just a little bit of a quick disengage coming out here. Duck and Quack over to the Soj instead, trying to get rid of J-Man right there. Not going to be able to, but again, you're just looking for anything right now. Space, poke, anything going Artemis's way is a good thing for them, but now the robots are boxing each other. Some Rock'em Sock'em robots at the moment as Azure gets very low. Has to just put up the arms for the rest of that. But it's going to be actually Hitori who falls. A huge kind of little bit of a blunder here for Laika. J-Man, though, going to come right back, finding one with the bullet, finding to the Blizzard, actually, from Lampet, who gets taken out, does freeze a couple, and that might just be all that Laika needs to clean this up. Yeah, it is. 4 minutes, 38 seconds. For Laika to essentially win this map. Or I'll say this, if Artemis wins this map, they wholeheartedly deserve it. Wholeheartedly deserve it. Because you have to remember, the first point last time was capped at about a minute and a half. About a minute and a half. Maybe less. Probably less, considering they had over almost 5.5 minutes to go into second point. But again, I mean, Laika, they're feeling the pressure on them, and man, that pressure is truly making some diamonds right now. That playoff picture is, especially around where they are right now. Again, we're going to have Avidity and Darkma, which I imagine by this point has concluded. If it's not, then it's an insane map 5 of a series. One of those teams is going to have 8 wins. The other one's going to have 7. That is going to be where Laika will be if they end up coming out on top of this series. But this Artemis team can never count them out. Can never count them out. I need it. What are you doing, Laika? Okay. I want to see this. I want to see this. You did this last week when I was covering you guys with Mott. Who's getting picked up? You pick up Juno? Okay. Okay. I like the idea. It's an idea. Maybe one you can keep on the drawing board here, but Hittori going right over to this Mauga, I feel like it's actually kind of a good pick here. You want to be able to try to run them down very quickly. This Mauga is going to be able to do just that, just to get a lot of disruption on that high ground. You're going to fall right back down. And look, you forced the entirety of Artemis off that high ground. And Juno, again, an early pick from them has normally led to great things in the past. And right now, it's leading to a lot of great things as Azure just getting burnt down. Doc and Quack, though, will be able to find J-Man as they play a very pivotal role in this entire fight, or entire round right now. A Duck and Quack with 2, looking for the third. Does find the double take aim shot there on to Lampet as they find it again. A Duck on Quack going in right now, and 4.5 meters away, but this is the start you're kind of looking for here if you're Artemis. But can you do it again and again and again? That's going to be the biggest question here for Artemis throughout the rest of this overtime. Hittori just going to rush over to that other side, just try to take that positioning right now. Trying to find an early pick there as Azure actually gets taken down pretty quickly. J-Man going to find the double take aim shots, but Painkare in that backline causing a lot of disruption. Does have to use the recall right there, but still in that backline. Lampet, though, with the Blizzard looking to end this map here and now. Azure does get hit with the Tidal Blast. That's going to basically be able to keep him alive even through the Blizzard here. And now again, Artemis just looking to try to find another pick here, win out this fight, buy them some more time, but Lampet can come in, find Painkare. Marduk's trying to do whatever they can, but Hittori just trying to burn down anyone. J-Man does use the bullet shot there, does find one, make it 2. Annihilation out from Missouri as a last-ditch effort here. Catnap will find them, but Lampet finds them out first. And Laika goes up in the series, 2-0. They're on series point. What a round. Again, what a map from them here, honestly. I mean, you look at everything here. Over 4.5 minutes completing the map there in overtime. Again, they got that extra minute because Artemis capping the point to force overtime in that first round there, but still 4 minutes 38 seconds is absolutely insane. An insane time bank coming from them there. Let's quickly though check on how this game is. Wait, is this real? Oh, it's real. Wow. Oh, wow. They're in overtime there. That's an insane series. Parker's having themselves a night on that one. Runasapi going to be our third map here, though. And going to be really interesting to see what Artemis bans out. Because you could ban out the Malga. You could ban out the Cast. You could ban out the Cat. I feel like the Cat might be a very safe ban here for them right now. But what does Artemis want to do? What's been the biggest problem? I mean, hell, the May is also back on the table now as well. Both teams played, I thought, a really good May there. But my bad. Lampet was doing a really good job on it. Like I said, they were on fire that entire second round. That did give them that 4 minute and 38 second time bank going into overtime. I could really see the May coming out here, but there's still a lot of options. I mean, I'll say that Artemis has left a lot of options on the table here. You could get rid of the Malga. You could get rid of the Reaper. You could get rid of a lot here. It won't have to change who's on what side, but what's the ban going to be here for Artemis? Again, do you go with the May? Because, again, this is kind of a good May map, especially with how you've been playing. You want to have a little bit more freedom. Do you get rid of the Malga because are you worried that you're going to get ran down? Do you get rid of the Cat so you don't have to deal with the Cat Bastion, the Cat Cass, any hit scan? I mean, there's a lot here, but Laika has looked great here. The Ramatra, not one that I said, but it makes sense. It really does here for them. Saw a lot of great Ramatra play last map. This is another map where the Ramatra can find a decent amount of value here. And if you're Laika, I'm trying to think about what you actually go after here. You could get rid of the Freya. You could easily get rid of the Freya here. Force a Duck on Quack to play something else. You could bring Amadou back in. You can bring Maverick back in, but I believe Maverick's a tank, if I remember correctly. But you have options. I think that's a big thing here right now. And especially with what the scoreline is right now, 2-0 for Laika. I mean, you have to feel pretty good about how you're playing right now if you're Laika. You've looked really good throughout this entire series. I mean, a little bit of mistakes there. I'm not even going to call them mistakes in that first round there on Circuit Royale. It was just Artemis finding ways to win fights there. And they completed the map, but Laika came right back out and laid the groundwork on how you play Circuit Royale. I mean, over 4.5 minutes. Insane. Absolutely insane. You, like, again, when me and Hunter talk about this, or when me and any other caster talk about times on hybrid or escort maps, like 1 minute's awesome, 2 minutes is nice, 3 minutes is wow, you can't believe it. 4 minutes is just insane. Like, it's straight up insane. Symmetra, though, going to be our second ban coming out here from Laika. And you know what? This isn't a bad ban. I will go back to, I think it was, I forget what series I was covering last week, where a team was looking really good on this map, but they just got shut down by a sim being able to TP into the backline. I think this is a great ban. Oh. I think this is honestly a really great ban coming out here for them. The other game over? Dark mode wins. Ooh. So yeah, other game is over. Dark mode ends up winning that one there. That is a huge, huge outcome, honestly, for dark mode. Again, a team that has really turned it around here in the last, I mean, hell, I'll say the last week. I think last week, especially on the Frenzy, I was kind of talking about how dark mode was maybe down and out. Yeah, they were just kind of being saved by maybe playing a couple weak teams, but they are showing me and the rest of FaceIt right now that they are indeed the real deal. Waiting on one member of Artemis here right now to get into the lobby. Again, happens. Why do I have 9+ pings? But while we wait, let's take some look at the other games going on around FaceIt at the moment. See if there's any upsets happening. What? 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 Okay. I'm just as shocked here. Grimoire struggled against dark mode yesterday. Actually, no, they beat dark mode. Wow. DDD, though 1-1 on Element Normal. This is a big game, honestly, here, there. Maybe quietly a big game because both those two teams are struggling. But it's a big game for just staying in Masters tier, honestly. DDD trying to get out of that automatic relegation spot. Element Normal trying just to find a way to make sure they're not in those promotion relegation games. Could be that 12th team in the standings and that last team that gets to stay in without having to play in the promotion relegations. But we'll talk about that another time a little bit later here tonight. Let's head back in now to what could be our final map of the night here. And I'm going to be honest with you. I did not expect to be saying that here after 2 maps, but Laika has made me believe that this could be our final map of the night. Iliad Artemis really needs to show us something right now that they are still very much alive in this series. Please. Please, Laika. Stick with this comp. I don't even know what to call it. Okay. It would have been fun. It would have been the most chaotic comp you would have ever seen. But Amadou, gotta go over to that Sojourn here. But Azure back over onto the Sigma here for a brief moment. Hittori, they're back out on the Malga, kind of what I expected to see with that. With the Ramattra being banned out here. It's gonna be really interesting to see as you see J-Man and Cinnabar going up over there, taking that off angle. And this is always gonna be the annoying thing here as Marduk just kind of gets chunked down a little bit early here. Nice charge coming in there. Pain Carrot gets taken out very early on, and That's just the thing with this composition. If you are not ready for it here, you're going to struggle, but you do lose Satori here. So there is still life for Artemis. They just need to be able to find the next pick. Azure, Amadou, very low on health. J-Man going to be able to find them. Ground-based bashing at the moment. But this still should be a fight victory here for... Oh. Really? Okay, I'm reading that a little bit late here, Gussie. That makes more sense. But where the hell was Lampet? That doesn't help me at all. Again, you want to give some momentum back over to Artemis here. You just get picked out early here, and look at what's happening right now. Yeah, you have the cat bashing getting set up, but that bot is now being taken away here by Artemis, as now the artillery coming out here from J-Man. Just going to dump it all onto the point right there, but not really find anything but a lot of damage. Lampet, though, back into the fray in the back line here, trying to find whoever they can. Juno does find their counterpart, and now Lampet going to be able to find their counterpart. So even a little bit of a mistake there by Lampet, not going to come back to necessarily bite them, and now this is actually a very costly stagger. Flumpy going to be able to find their way back to the spawn very quickly, but Lampet, that gets taken out. Not necessarily the biggest concern here for them. I believe Cinnabar actually went back to go pick him up. Yeah, Cinnabar went back to go pick him up. So you're really trying to get this forward spawns right now if you are Laika, just trying to make sure you get a little bit ahead right now. You're going to be able to really no contest at all from Artemis. I don't think they knew that they were going to be down 2 heroes right there. Overclock coming out here from Amadou, looking for anyone. Going to be able to find J-Man with some help. Consumer Rush still going to be the response. The Death Blossom from Lampet. Now the Flux from Azure. Going to be able just to throw Lampet into the ground, but nice Suzu, I believe, coming out from Juno. Keep him alive there as everyone's struggling, but it does look like it should be Artemis that eventually cleans up this fight. Just don't lose one here if you're them. Hitori going to be the last one taken out of this fight as Artemis going to try to reset these forward spawns, but I believe everyone for Laika going to be safe here. Get those forward spawns and come right back in very quickly. Accretion out, going to be able to hit it, Tori, but I believe Paincare threw that pulse bomb out there, not expecting it. Catnap, though, from Cinnabar does... I don't think it landed on anybody there, actually. J-Man going to be picked up in the nick of time right there as Lampet going to be able to find one, but still Artemis trying to find a way back into this map right now, getting just chunked out a little bit here. Amadou going to fall, and this is already kind of the telltale signs of an end of a fight right now. Flumpy out as well, and you're going to be able to see, I believe, Mardox and Azure back up. Forward spawns retaken here by Laika. Okay, Lampet. Laika, known for doing their walk emote tech, comes back to bite them there painfully as Lampet taken out first in a fight yet again. Still a big lead, though, for Artemis, so not necessarily the biggest concern, and Lampet will be back into the fray here pretty quickly. The Xion showing their sign for the first time the night here. Paincare going to be able to find Juno. Mardox, though, with the Kitsune Rush. J-Man, though, going to be able to find one. You still have this Flux online right now for them as Mardox going to be taken out early on. J-Man, though, going to try to keep themselves alive, and they're going to be able to do it somehow, some way, but do they take themselves out with their own grenade? Yeah. J-Man's apparently banned. I don't know for how many states or countries, but he's banned.
Pick a god and pray.
Oh, fuck. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you for jump scaring me again, man. How'd the Fallen do? Forward spawn just reactivated, and then backing up here right now is Laika. There. Oh, so Fallen 3-0s. Hunter, I'm going to be honest with you here, man. DDD and Normal, I believe, is tied right now. Amadou, though, going to be able to find one out here early on, but you need to find this fight very quickly here. If you're Artemis, that time bank no longer on your side, haven't been able to get a lot going your way here since that first fight. Catnap, though, out from Cinnabar. Again, misses on everybody out there. Cinnabar looking for some elims, not going to be able to find anything here. And right now, just try to find another pick. Nice accretion. Death Blossom, though, out from Lampet, finding 4. Oh, my goodness. Can they get the ace? Pain Care blinking around. Juno takes the ace, but it doesn't matter. The job is done in that fight. And Laika and Lampet keep moving forward, adding on to their lead. Hunter, I'm happy I missed that. I would have had an emotional breakdown. Lampet, though, going to be keeping this kill streak going here. Flux out from Missouri as Lampet finally gets taken out. The spree, though, out from Amadou as they're looking for anyone. Up into the sky they go, looking for J-Man and Cinnabar. Not going to be able to find either one of them here. Pretty even fight across the board. No Juno. Artillery, though, out from J-Man. And, yeah, they really, really want Floomfy or Azure dead. They're going to be able to find Floomfy at the least. But that bot is being stolen here at the moment. Cinnabar maybe trying to get Hattori out of this fight, but Hattori takes the rock to the face and then gets to go meet a couple rocks in the ground there for a brief moment. Cinnabar going to get J-Man out of here. The bot now being taken back here by Artemis, or by Laika, I mean. Accretion out, going to be able to find Juno, but not going to be able to find any picks off of that. Floomfy actually does find one right there as the bot now being taken away. Still a lot of time left in this map, and this is one of those maps that we always talk about being a map that you can never necessarily count yourself out of or think that your lead is too big if you're the attacking team. A cleanup kill here. That bot's going to get reset, and honestly, this is the best thing that's happened to Artemis this map. They find a great kind of take here. They're going to be able to add on or just eat away into that lead. They still have 3 ultimates at their disposal. This is that kind of turnaround you've been waiting to see from them right now. Azure taking up a lot of space. Just trying to buy themselves some time. They are almost so close to that catnap out from Cinnabar. Going to be able to find Floomfy. And they're going to get taken out. Amadou taken out early on as well. What was looking so good for Artemis quickly falls apart. The Flux actually invested here by Azure. And they're trying to keep themselves alive. But the catnap going to be able, or the cat's claw is going to be able to shut them down there. But you eat into the lead there a little bit. A team kill going the way of Laika. 2 minutes on the board. Still have about a 44-meter lead. I can do math fast. Laika, patiently waiting here. I feel like this play here from them. They're waiting for an engagement here. J-Man, though. Artillery coming out. Getting a good lay of the land right now. And they are really just going after Lampet. I mean, my bad. I believe that was Amadou, actually, here. Lampet, though, in the backline, running away. Same thing with Hattori. It looks like a quick disengagement here from Laika as they really need it. And it's not going to be fast enough for Lampet or Juno right there. And this is exactly what you're looking for here. If you're Laika, if you're Artemis, find that one more pick. And there it is, on to Hattori. They're going to have a very, very far spawn. Granted, they have a cage coming up. But you might have just guaranteed yourself potentially maybe the checkpoint here. Kind of like how Artemis knows this Cat Bastion is kind of flying around right now in the backline. Amadou, though, finds out Juno. Spree out from them right now, looking for anyone they can, just buying some time. Use those last 2 ones, basically just in the doorway, keeping themselves alive. Checkpoint captured here for Artemis. So close. 24 meters away from taking the lead here. Less than a minute. You could really look at this as a potentially final fight. Cage out here from Hattori. Does get accretion out. But the Death Blossom yet again from Lampet. Finding 2, looking for more. Lampet with 3. Can they find one more? No, not going to be able to do it this time around, but they did their job. They cleaned up the fight. Not a lot of time. 12 meters, 30 seconds to go. What does Artemis have up their sleeve? They have 2 ultimates to their name right now. About to have a third. That was kind of a costly fight there, but nice accretion. The Flux coming out from Missouri early on right now as they're trying to get rid of Hattori. Catnap, though, out from Cinnabar. Misses on that one, but Floopy taken out of the picture with the beat online. Amadou does find one, but you're still losing more and more members here. If you're Artemis, looking for anyone you can. Consumer Rush out from Juno as they want to end this fight. They want to end the map, and they want to end the series here and now. Consumer Rush beat out from the other side. Not gonna be in time to save Azure. Marduk's taken out here early on. Hattori doing what they can, but you're seeing some picks go the way. J-Man with the artillery just dumping it onto the cart. Hattori looking for one more here. You do see Azure come right back in on that Doom. Is it going to be enough here for Artemis? The question, well, might have a little bit more of a long answer here. Staying alive right now is Artemis. The dive going in. Azure trying to do what they can. You do have Amadou coming back in. They have the spree online. Has to go in with it. Amadou or Hattori finds one, but the trades are back and forth. And overtime, Wick's going to burn down a little bit too quickly right there. And Artemis not going to be able to stall it out. Laika gets a huge victory, keeping them securely in the playoff hunt. Huge, huge, huge all the way across the board here for Laika. A must-needed win, and they get it in a must-needed way. Lampet with 4 right there. Almost gets the ace. Juno takes it away from them there at the very last moment. But if you're Laika, this is exactly what you were looking for here tonight, and some other results going your way as well. Like I said, there was some great performances throughout this entire series. Lampet, I think, maybe had the best 2 maps I've seen them play this entire season. In these last 2, May back on Circle Royale and the Reaper this time around was just unstoppable at times. A great series for them. And now that the series is finally over, I can look at some stats. Yeah, I mean, just look at that last map there. J-Man and Lampet combined for 54 elims. An insane amount. I'm not going to look at Lampet's deaths. Not going to look at that. Not focusing on that at all. But still, an insane amount compared to the other side with only that 39. Iliad Artemis, a team that's in the playoffs right now. This could be a matchup early on for them. And Laika gets the upper hand here tonight. But again, Hattori called out their name a lot. Cinnabar and Juno, again, a lot coming into this performance here from Laika. They look like a team that is well ready for a run here and now. And they have a lot of games this week. A strong, strong start here for them. Let's check on some other games going on, though, right now, real quickly, before I have my final thoughts on this one here. So, ongoing games. That one's still 2-0. Element Normal up 2-1 on DDD. Team DDD, it was that JPFC team from last season, the one that was essentially at the point they're at right now. Looked like they were going to be relegated out automatically. Found a couple of huge wins towards the end of the season, putting them in those promotion relegation games. They won that to stay in Masters tier. They're trying to do it here again. Grimoire and Nightmare is the insane one. Grimoire up 2-0. I mean, Grimoire is in that fight here with Element Normal and with Fallen, or the Fallen right now, to try to stay out of those promotion relegation games and stay in to Masters. But again, you look at the standings right now. This loss doesn't necessarily hurt Artemis, but it does put them in a spot where their last game kind of becomes a little bit of a must-win if you want to have a good seat to Nuki in that top 10. But you look at this right here. Dark Mode, Thanos, Laika, and Avidity. This final week is going to be insane. Way 2 Thanos has to win their final game this week, which I believe is against Avidity. I think that's going to be a wild game. Laika, I think they still have to play Avidity here. I will check in a brief. I will check that right now. I believe their final game is actually against Avidity. No, their final game is against Normal, but they still have EXO on Wednesday. A lot of good games coming up here this week. A lot of fun games as well. But I mean, Grimoire somehow it could upset the number 1 team right now, and this is Nightmare's last game. You could see a lot of teams end this season with 12 wins. It would be an insane thing here. But going back to this series here tonight, an amazing series from Laika. Like I said, it was a must-win for them. They could afford to lose it, but it would basically put them backs against the wall. This one gives them a little bit of comfort here and now, especially with Way 2 Thanos still having to play, I believe, a really tough game against Avidity to end their season there as well, especially with how Avidity has been playing. And Thanos, again, we love our stories here. They're that team coming up from Expert, much like the Vivacity from last season. They're trying to find their way they're trying to find their way into playoffs in their first season in Masters here. But Laika, like I said, their upcoming schedule is EXO on Wednesday, Avidity on Friday, Normal on Sunday. I think if you're Laika, you have to look at winning either EXO or Avidity. There, if you can win one of those games, you put yourself into a really good spot, because Element Normal, while they're playing good right now, should be a team you beat. It should be a team you beat. But for Artemis, they still have one more game left this season. Let's take a quick look at what that is. And it's Mouse 5. So Artemis should be able to bounce back here. Mouse 5, the unfortunate thing is for Mouse 5 this season, they've definitely struggled with coming up from Expert tier into Masters. I don't believe they've won a game. They've won a couple maps. here, but it's going to be one of those teams that gets automatically demoted right back down into expert tier next season. Yeah, they've definitely struggled so far this season. But DDD and that normal game going on right now, very interesting one here, because if DDD's able to come back into that game, normal and DDD, missing and DDD is going to be a really tight battle for that final demotion spot or automatic demotion spot there. But if you're Laika, you're currently sitting on the outside looking in. You have 3 more games left to go, while Thanos only has the 1, and that applies a little bit more pressure to Thanos now with that 1 game. But an insane performance here tonight. Laika put on a show. Definitely looked like a playoff team here against a team that I believe is firmly locked into the playoffs in Artemis. But that'll do it so much for me. That'll do it for me tonight. Thank you so much for everyone who stopped by. Thank you, Corval, for hopping in at the start of the stream and watching throughout. Thank you, Hunter, for the raid, and thank you everyone else who stopped by as well. This was a really great series. Might be back tomorrow. I don't know. Might be back with Hunter tomorrow. We might cover a game. We might cover South America tomorrow, because that's actually been, even though me and Hunter haven't covered a lot of South America, we've been watching it still from the outside, and it is a really, really interesting season down in South America. A really close season as well. And I will say it's because the reigning 3-time champions in either, you could call them Factor X, Dil Patos, or 9Z Globant, aren't competing there, because 9Z is actually going to EWC, which does start Wednesday as well, which I know me and Hunter will be rooting on them there. But again, final week of the regular season, y'all. A lot of people are covering this stuff. Please try to support all of us through it. Again, it'll be me, Hunter, Mega Ninja, PC New York, Ma Neva, Joker's Ransom, Hyper the Worst. He mostly covers Extinction. He is their co-streamer. You have Bullskunk as well, and you have a lot of these players who really do stream and put out a lot of great quality content as well. So if you want to go support any of them, please do that. But that'll do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching here tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow for some more FaceIt League action.
You should be sitting up straight, but without stiffness, and should feel comfortable. Don't ever let yourself become tense. Now let's type some more on the home row key. Ready? Go! Using proper rhythm, wiggle your fingers and jam the keys. A quick snap of the fingers, and with practice, that's all there is to it. All there is to it. Are you relaxed? You should be.